Hi and welcome to this webinar about customer portals and how you can increase your business experience with a customer portal. Your host today will be Tobias Giese, who you're seeing on the screen from Intershop, and myself, Dan Anderson from Columbus. The agenda today. The agenda today is that I will start to give you a brief introduction to challenges that will lead into Tobias, who will start talking about a specific customer challenge, go into how we can approach to a success, and then also do a little bit of a customer case and a live demo. So let's start. So we start with the challenges part. Today we all live in a world where the only constant is change. The major challenge we see today is that we actually have to plan and we have to prepare for changes everywhere. Just to look back a few years and see what's actually happening, we have been moving from a physical to a digital world. We have moving from using devices as a computer, and now everybody's using mobile, and the behavior changes that has happened because of that. We have been moving from a geographic market that was very nearby to a global market for everybody. Our competitors and partners are changing. We go from a well-known competitors to marketplaces where either Amazon or maybe Alibaba either are partners or competitors. Our offers are changing from products to services. Today and future, maybe it's content that actually we are offering as a main differentiator. Our business models are changing. We're forced to challenge our own business models, maybe from a partner model to owning the communication with the end customer, even in B2B. The lines between B2C and B2B are merging, are blurring away. But most of all, customers are changing. The buying behavior, the customer needs, and the customer requirements are changing. And let's go a little bit deeper into that area. Customer buying behavior has changed. There was a time when a customer contacted us early and asked for information in the buying process. That time no longer exists. Today, 66 to 90% of the buying process takes place, according to Forrester, before a buyer contacts a supplier for information about solution. And mostly they are ready when they contact you as a supplier. Regarding to Google, 90% in the 90% of the cases, you actually start the buying process with a search. And this is a major change in a challenge where we actually are more going from a sales-driven to a marketing-driven buying process. And this is a major challenge to align marketing and sales. We're also facing a world where the customers actually are changing. We meet new decision makers and buyers who come from a generation that where they are born with a mobile in the hand, and they have always been connected. They seek information and recommendations in new ways, and their attention span is no more 15 seconds or 9 seconds. Actually, the next generation of younger people that are coming out on the job market today, we expect them to have an attention span on 2.9 seconds. And we also see from researchers that 46% of buyers today are below 34 years, and they have other needs for how they want to buy. Much more self-service, for example. We also see that business buyers today want the same experience they are as when they are buying for themselves. So as a company today, we may maybe not benchmark ourselves regarding to competitors. We may benchmark our own services regarding to leading B2C or media companies that actually are delivering content and information in a fast way for the customers as they are used as. Today, we also see that 86% of the people who actually visit a site, they are not there for buying today. They are there for getting inspired, get information, and prepare for decisions in the future. And the requirements are changing. The customers expect to receive the same information in all channels they use to make their purchase decisions, and preferably packaged according to their needs, and they want it in the time of moment when they need it. So it's a key challenge for us as companies to offer these kind of new solutions that meet these new customer expectations and requirements. We have to simplify and streamline our sales, increase our service levels, meet the customer needs, increase accessibility to our offering. But it's not just about technology. To actually succeed, it's also about changing our sales and marketing strategies to supporting this kind of new buying process. We have to move from a sales-driven to a marketing-led strategies. We have to be more data-driven. We have to go from a push-oriented to a pull-oriented marketing that is more personalized to the individual. We have to, as a little bit discussed here before, have a more greater consumer-like solutions. We have to be more automated in our operations. We have to have workflows that are maybe taking care of things on the website and directed those kind of automatically to service, to sales, to marketing, so we can follow up it in an easy way. We have to have consolidated data, and we have to work with all this kind of information in real time for the customer. From an organization perspective, we have to be more aligned. Sales, marketing, services. And we also have to have a culture that is more agile and much more customer-centric. And with these words, I will leave over to Tobias that will show you more example how we can have a more customer-centric customer experience with a customer portal. So Tobias, over to you.
Thank you very much, Dan. So good morning also from my side. Thank you very much for joining in this morning. I'm sending today from the headquarters of Intershop in Germany. As Dan said, I want to go into the details now. I think we now have seen the different requirements and changes in the B2B market, but also the customer behavior, how is it changing? And I want to pick one dedicated customer challenge. But then we will also see that this is not just one-dimensional problem that we have to face. It's really multifold. So we will have a look into the different dimensions of one dedicated customer challenge. And later on, we want to show you how you can move with your current digital maturity level in your company to the next stage, right? What is required from the customer side, but also from your side as a manufacturer. And at the end, we want to present you the solution. It's not the solution, it's one solution, but this could be really helpful to tailor really your customer requirements and fulfill them. So let me just start with the customer challenge. We picked here one, and this is Bruce Digger. Bruce Digger is a chief machine operator, right? What we see currently in what is happening in B2B is that the customers of manufacturers, of distributors, wholesalers, they're getting more and more complex, right? They are growing, they have different roles, different goals, right? And we picked just one. So he is responsible for multiple machines that in the customer buying organization are installed. Could be some big machines that are used. And his goal is to have smooth operations, right? Every machine should run, should do the daily work, and he is responsible for that. And the issue is the machine is stopping, right? And interesting, and I think also Dan said that even this craftsman is working on a construction site somewhere outside of the city, right? The first thing he will pull up is his mobile phone, right? And getting some answers of some critical questions that he has, right? So I think that's very important. And also for him, it's important to get the support he needs for the dedicated possible solutions that he needs to have, right? So the first thing is maybe something with the machine is not working. So he needs maybe to replace the machine. Maybe he just needs a spare part. Maybe just needs a consumable, right? Maybe he just needs a service because the machine has a dedicated service period now exceeded and there needs to be a service technician coming in, right? So the dimension really here is also multifold, right? And you as a manufacturer need to take care of that. Yeah? It could be multiple use cases, but at the end for Bruce Digger, just the customer experience counts. He has an issue, he's dragging up his mobile phone, he wants to ask somebody and get immediately attention and also response to his questions, right? So this is one dimension. And the other dimension that we see is the procurement process itself. You know that it's quite complex. You as a manufacturer on the left side, but there are multiple stages towards your customer. Distributors, retailers, system integrators, marketplaces in China, in Asia, in America, right? There are a lot of new players, existing players, like you have maybe distributor network, but there are also new players coming up, right? And I think it's very, very important that you for sure as a manufacturer have to look into that, yeah, procurement or for you sell side kind of thing. But on the other hand, the customer doesn't care if he is calling the distributor, the service technician, or you as a manufacturer, right? He has an issue, he wants to have that fixed as soon as possible. So for you to differentiate yourself also, you have to provide the best customer experience. So you also can think about integrating your distributors and service technician into the value chain and also the customer experience. So we'll later see that in the customer portal itself, how this can then be really realized. And what also is very interesting is that yesterday I had a call with a big manufacturer in France, and he also said to me, Tobias, we already have a big distributor network, right? But we also want to get more information about the customer directly. We want to go direct to customer. How can we do that, right? And for sure, it's a challenging issue, to be honest, right? There is not one answer I can shoot at you now, but we talked about different approaches, and I have two examples here. For sure, you can establish new partners, yeah, new distributors, new in-between partners that can take your products, your services out to the market. Yeah, most of the manufacturers already have that. Or what, for example, Ship Support did. Ship Support is a corporate startup out of a big traditional company, Royal IHC. So Royal IHC said, okay, I'm a manufacturer. I'm really good in producing and manufacturing my products. I have my network already, but there is a need from certain customer segments that I want to address more directly. And I'm a big company. I have a lot of infrastructure. I have a lot of power, a lot of good business relations. But to be honest, I want to move very, very fast. So I found a new startup with maybe starting just 2 people. Now I think there are 30 people, right? But they have an own brand, Ship Support. They have a new target market. They have a new offering, which one maybe the Royal IHC could not provide so fast. But they can use already from the mother company the existing supplier relations, business relations, but move fast. Go into the cloud using a new infrastructure, right? And I think this is another example I have then later on with Ship Support that they can move very fast because at the end they always address Bruce Digger. Bruce Digger has the issue and they can solve that much better than a reseller, a system integrator, or maybe a marketplace in China could do, where they could maybe fetch the product a little bit cheaper. I think every manufacturer has to face that for B or C parts. There are maybe some cheaper options out in the world, but I think your strength could be really to provide this kind of dedicated self-service capabilities we will just see in some minutes. And just to finish up the complexity level, yeah, it's really complex, right? Because this guy is not alone. As I said, it's really like 25 people. You have machine operator. He's the chief machine operator of 5 whatever excavators working for a construction project, right? But you also have the buyer, the guy that is more for the commercials. If I have a spare part which is more expensive than whatever 20,000 euros, then the construction site manager needs to approve that, because he is doing the budget planning, the project management for the overall construction project, right? So there you have high coordination and approval efforts. And with the solution we will later show, most of the things can happen digital, yeah, which I think is very, very important, that you don't have media breaks, right? You want to do everything digitally and enable all the stakeholders on the right as well as on the left so they can interact. And no phone calls, no fax, no email, whatever. Everything should be handled via the platform itself. And the most important thing is, Dan said that it's very important to understand the customer, yeah? Know the customer, but also to guide him, right? Yeah, to give him the right selections, the right products, to understand him. And this is the discovery and explore phase. So that's just one part of the whole customer life cycle. And I think you as a manufacturer, you have the capability, like some wholesalers, they're taking your piece in terms of making a good offering of multiple products from the same product from multiple manufacturers for the customer. They solve one dedicated issue in the customer life cycle, but you have the power, especially with the after sales, if you know the customer and the data of the machines, the spare parts and the services that are used for your after sales business, where there is the most potential that we see, and also a lot of surveys we did with manufacturers, right? But you can also use that as a first step in the discovery phase again, because you understand the customer, his usage pattern, you know the machines, the spare parts, the buying behavior, the buying preferences, as Dan mentioned, right? And you can tailor him with saying, for example, dear customer, we know you use that machine for 10 years. We know by meeting our sales rep with your guys that you have a strategic project coming up next year. There you need this better machine because you need to be more efficient, right? You need to do this kind of things. And you can have this guided selling approach by using your data. You don't start from scratch and say, hey, go to my online shop and pick any product you want. You have a search and navigation. That's the old way. With the new way, you already dig into the customer about the machines, the products itself, and you use that to really say, oh, and then the customer sees, that's the perfect machine that I need to be more efficient. And I never will go to whatever Chinese marketplace to buy something else, because here I have to trust, I get the service, I have the right product, right? And this is crucial for me. And just have here some more examples. I just mentioned most of them, but maybe one interesting aspect could also be a lot of manufacturers are already really good in selling spare parts online, right? And they are coming to us and say, hey, Tobias, we already good in selling the spare parts. Now the next step is we want to sell our machines. That's the next maturity level, because mostly the sales rep via CRM and really offline sold them. This could be the next step. On others say, okay, the world outside our customers is highly dynamic, highly flexible, right? There's a new construction project and they need my machines and my products just for 4 weeks, right? Because then they're moving to another project where they need completely other tools, machines, and stuff like that, right? So they think about renting out things, like Word, a big customer of us, they're thinking about renting things, right? Next to that, next to selling, also renting them thing, and then you can have you own some of the products, but you also maybe just rent something for a period of time, and you want to just pay how you really use it, right? And then IoT comes into place. We will later have a small example there as well to really reflect and give you more insights, how your business is going, and you just pay what you really use. And this was the customer perspective, right? I'm always a big fan starting with the customer perspective, because this gives you insight as a manufacturer what to do, right? And I just added some offerings that you could, or capabilities that you could provide to cater for that, right? Recommendations, inspiration. Dan mentioned this, really inspire them, really what could be the next big thing, right? For me as well, but also giving them some product configurations expanding their service business, changing the operational models. And this could be good options for you in the different customer lifecycle parts where you can improve, right? Where you can close the customer journey so it's really becomes seamless. One last example here, because for the manufacturing, if you have complex machines, and we faced that issues with other companies there, they said, okay, I'm selling the machine and the customer is owning them for 20 years because it's a really good machine, yeah, but for sure it needs some spare parts, some services, some consumables. So the machine, the product itself changes. It's highly individualized. It's not the product data anymore that you have in your ERP system 10 years ago, or even nowadays, right? It's customer specific. So what they also want is some kind of self-service to see maybe the maintenance logs, how much spare parts have been added, which kind of services have been done on that machine. That helps your customers to really see, oh, I'm having the product here from that manufacturer, and I'm knowing really what is going on. And you as a manufacturer knows, oh, he has it for 10 years. I can already schedule some service technician on my side, yeah, to save some costs here. Or I can really predict things and really talk with the customer about how to improve their business. And maybe now coming to this kind of approach to move to the next level. And I'm also here a big fan of having models, right? And we have this kind of onion model, and we have the 4 layers, right? The 4 levels of digital maturity that you have. And the first one, to be honest, a lot of B2B customers are still on level 1. They consolidated their product data and put them online, right? In the information homepage, you can see all the products, right? Then we have a lot of customers that moved from 1 to 2. This means they added the online shop. They have now the intershop solution. They have customer-specific assortments, pricing, everything integrated and running the business very good. And now they are looking for the next step. And next step is really level 3 by adding this kind of individualized service parts. Really, you're logging in and you don't see just an online shop, you see your individual portal, right? The next stage, and currently I have to be honest with that, not one single manufacturer I know is currently on stage number 4. So don't feel bad if you're not recognizing yourself on level 4, right? It's really providing a smart portal. It's all the things I talked about in level 3, but really doing this kind of predictions. We will later see that by using the machine data, the usage patterns, the spare parts, replacements, and all that stuff to really predict things for you as a manufacturer to improve your sales, but also for the customer to see, oh, likely this spare part needs to be repaired in the next 4 weeks. I can plan that. I can talk with my internal stakeholders, with my team, and I can run my business smoothly. And let's have a look on the solution. I'm very excited now because now we talked a lot about the issues, the challenges, but they are there, right? And I hope you could maybe recognize some potential requirements there also for your company. Now let's move into the solution. And I'm always a big fan of, let's pretend you are Bruce Digger. You are the customer of your company, right? And you need help. And let's assume I'm logging in via my mobile phone, desktop, whatever, and I want to see the most crucial information on top, right? Dan said that it's really the B2C experience. It's like for you as an end customer, oh, the order is shipped, I get it tomorrow, right? You get, or there's a discount going on, right? You see immediately all the important information and you can act on that. And the same goes for B2B. Yeah? The times of the long SAP list hopefully will be over soon. They're needed, I know that sometimes, but the only thing is here, you need notifications like, oh, there is a new machine coming into my construction site and I'm responsible for all machines on the construction site. So I know, hey, it's coming tomorrow. I can brief my machine operators. I can do my according project plan, right? I can see that there are some issues, right, with some of the machines. I see them already online. Oh, low oil really on that machine. I just want to replenish it by clicking on the button. And this really helps to improve the customer satisfaction, to make it convenient and really to ease the process also on the customer side. Let's have a look how this really looks like. And this kind of, we call it the digital customer portal. And for me, it has 3 different parts. It has the ordering part, which is still what you see in the online shop, because at the end, for sure, it's very important to provide the right product brochures, the videos, how to use that machine more efficiently, and also the services. But we all know it's all about money, yeah? Generating revenue. They should be inspired. They should see the new product, but yes, they should click submit order as soon as possible and as often as possible, right? So that's the ordering part. That's already there, yeah, all coming from the e-commerce and our solution. But then on top, we have the information. You don't show the shopping cart yet and click submit. For sure, we have this important notifications on top. And below, we have, for example, the service components. Hey, there's a service technician that can come tomorrow, giving you a brief introduction of the new machine. You can order a training so that your machine operators, if the new machine is coming tomorrow, they get a 2-hour training. You can schedule it already, right? You don't need to call anybody else. You can do everything here on the portal. Let's jump one step deeper. So I'm logged in as Bruce Digger. As you can see here, I can see one of the machines. I see, oh, the oil is empty. I see some usage pattern. You see some spare parts. Oh, I need to have a new whatever bucket that I need. And as you can see here, the machines are mostly complex, right? You have maybe a complex 3D laser cutting machine, right? And you want to know where the spare part is. So we enable you also to see the spare parts in a 3D, in a 2D view already, where you can see the different products. You see immediately the price, or you can ask for a quote and add it directly in the shopping cart if that is possible. Or what you can see also on service, you can book immediately a training, as I mentioned. And next to that, very convenient is also you have maybe 2 different spare parts. I have a small pair, not so complex spare part. I can repair that by myself, right? So I do this with my service technician in my team. But then you have maybe a very crucial spare part, very expensive, very complex. And there you want to take into account the service technician from the manufacturing side, right? So this could be also your benefit as a manufacturer and say, hey, okay, I have my service team, and you can easily pick, hey, tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, and then I see Ben Boulder or whatever, he is available, I can book it. You can buy the product, you can buy the service, you can add a quote, everything digitally without leaving the media. That's very, I think, very convenient. And I think this will be the future, right? Because as you can see on the right, it helps the customer and you as well. You can do the right upsell, the right cross-sell. Yeah? You will never offer or recommend products and services that don't fit to your customer, because he does not have this kind of machine. Why should you put in your newsletter or your product recommendations any product there? For sure, you want to try out, like some of the recommendation engines are doing this with some new fancy products which are out of their world, you know, to give them some inspiration. But mostly it should be catered for the business need, right? And this can be achieved with that. I think a very good example here is Ship Support. I mentioned this. It's a corporate startup, so they could really start from scratch. And what I like about this is that they really thought about their customers, right? I mean, we all do that. We try to be customer-centric as a company, right? But what I see since the 90s, to be honest, I always see that, hey, be customer-centric and so on, right? For me, it's important that you live that every day. If you're on technical sales, in a marketing team, but even the training in the professional service team, right? I try to do that with all the team members we have also at Intershop, because it's a mindset. And sometimes it shifts again back about the things you want to do as a manufacturer, as a wholesaler, whatever. But this is also one advice, try to revitalize that again. And what they did is really, what are my target customers? And this is really the captains of big boats, right? Operators. And they have an issue. They are on the 7 oceans with a big boat, and something goes wrong. One of the dredges, the cranes, the excavators on the ships are not working anymore. That means 100,000 US dollars or euros loss per day, right? So it's really crucial to get the right product for the right price, for sure, but also for the right availability. And what they did is really, we understand this. So we offer a rich set of products from multiple manufacturers, so you have the choice. They don't have to write in fax or an email or phone when they're on the 7 oceans to get really quotes, to get really recommendations. And they also integrated Ship Support Service Engineer, because it's a complex product. It's not enough like in an Amazon experience to say, oh, I get this for $1,000 and it's available tomorrow, that's already helpful, more helpful than any kind of the competitors in their business. But they also know there must be a service technician be in the helicopter and then really repairing or installing the spare part. Otherwise, it's not working, right? So they really integrate the different, I would say, stakeholders part of the value chain. And I think that's important in B2B now to make everybody happy. So you have the parts purchaser, he can have a big enriched set of available assortments. You have the people responsible for the boats and so on. So I think that's very interesting, yeah, to analyze that and then really say, what do they need? And I was speaking about the solution, and there is not the solution. There are multiple solutions. But what I think this kind of digital customer portal that I just mentioned um, can be the core for that. But I also say that it needs to be personalized, and you can do this with the Intershop solution. You can personalize it based on the stakeholder persona entering the system. And they said, okay, we have the three main challenges. The first thing is the guy wants to have a rich or maximum choice of products. Even one product coming from Royal IHC, but also from competitors, from Siemens, from Bosch, whatever, right? So they moved into a more, I would say, kind of one-stop shop marketplace, offering multiple manufacturers, right, to solve that issue in between. So they have this as some kind of workshop, online shop. But then they also said, we want to provide the maximum relevance. Yeah, what if I have 1 million product, I can find everything, but does it really fit into my specific boat that I'm owning for 20 years? And so you can upload together also with ship support and configure your boats, your installed base, and automatically you get all the offerings and recommendations just for the fleet that you are really owning. And next to that, they identified, oh, a lot of our customers are large boat operators. They are not allowed due to compliance limitations to order things in an online shop, right? We have that for a lot of bigger B2B companies. That's the case, right? So, but they use the portal. It's the same thing, enabling OCI punch out as a capability to offer their procurement systems like an SAP Ariba system to use the product data from ship support, having the broad selection, and doing then the checkout and all the other stuff really in the procurement system of the larger customer, right? So at the end, you really address the smaller customers, the bigger customers, the very sophisticated customers with maybe 10 boats operating, right? And I think that will be the future, that you have not maybe one touch point, but multiple ones. But what I also say is that you don't want to have different systems with a staggered or disruptive login or custom experience. It should be the same thing. We are using a lot of Azure Active Directory single sign-on capabilities, right, which are asked more and more. It's a technical, I know, capability, but I think it's really business driven as well to see really that you have this kinds of single sign-on. You can sign in the different areas of the shop and see always your personalized view. And I think that's what I mean with stage number 3, right? This really individualized part. But they also have big dreams, as I said, and I think that's very important. You have to have your plan for this year, but also for the next 2 or 3 years for sure. And what everybody or a lot of manufacturers are aiming for is, and for ship support, it's the same. They are selling spare parts for this kind of boats. If their sales knows or which kind of product is highly consumed, which is a new product maybe which fits into the needs of the customers in the next months, everybody wants to know, right? And I think that's what they are looking for. They are doing more and more onboarding of different manufacturers, so they have 1 million products already in stock. But also thinking about using IoT, like communication of the different ships back also to ship support, so they can help having a track of the different spare parts, the usage patterns, to really predict things in a more convenient way. And at the end, this boils really down to the recommendation if you want to enter level 4. And it's not easy, to be honest, because level 4 means really not just aggregating your systems or streamline them. Yeah, I mean the commerce system with ERP integrated, mostly we see that in nearly every project. What is new is really this kind of CRM tools, install base. I have the customers assigned to the different installed base machinery and spare parts and different systems integrated. into the experience, right? This is a good start, but you need to add then later on via IoT the measurement statistics, right? The products and the machines, the spare parts, the consumables, right? I think this is then the next key. Means collecting a lot of data, yeah, for sure. It's always a challenge. I know that it's not easily said there, but this is something you want to do. I am also a big fan of approaching things then also in small steps, right? So what our customers are doing is saying, if they have a new customer portal, they pick the top 5 use cases. They ask their top 10 customers about what do you really need in the customer portal. And they say, oh, I need notifications about my invoices. And now you can say, hey, invoices, that's boring. But if a lot of them needs that to do maybe all the order replenishment and the other things, then provide the invoices to them, right? In a very convenient way, and add this on top. And maybe last but not least, to finish my part here, what is stage number 4, right? It's the predictive kind of things. And I see here 2 different areas. And maybe we should focus on the left area first. It's about the daily work of your customers, because a lot of manufacturers coming to me asking, hey, Tobias, should we sell our complex machines immediately via your online platform? I say, maybe think about what is the customer really needs, and maybe it's always good to start also with the consumables, because they are used every day. They need special whatever adhesives, glues, whatever products you have as consumables every day. Make it as easy as possible for them, having order templates, pre-filled shopping carts, so that they see, oh, if I have a new project, I install a new machine, right? I need that kind of consumables every day, every week, whatever. Make it as easy as possible. Then maybe think about adding your spare parts. Spare parts is always the next level of complexity. I know that, because the spare parts itself can be very complex, and it always needs to be compatible with the machine, with a CAD drawing, with availability and stuff like that. And if you have owned this and you do this really well, then I would say you're on the stage to say, now I want to sell also the complex machines, because you have the experience already with the spare parts, you have the contact to your customers and even to your maybe distributors, right? And you can play that in the right way. And so this automatic reordering is one thing, maybe to focus on the beginning, and later you can use that data, like the ordering patterns of your customers, to really think about this kind of predictive things. Which kind of spare parts do they need every week, every project that they are ramping up, which kind of tools every new employee that is entering the customer organization is needing, right? So you can then add more and more data to predict things for the machine operator to see really, oh, I'm going to replace that kind of spare part tomorrow, right? So he's informed. This can really be a game changer. Just a small, I would say, use cases, and add more and more at your different stakeholders, like the service technicians, to improve your sales as well. Yeah, you have the customer, but on the other side, as I said, it's a huge thing for manufacturers as well, to position yourself and to make it really very attractive for your customers. They won't go to a marketplace to buy things a little bit cheaper, right? And I know a lot of manufacturers have the issues of different competitors there, but you're very good already in the products that you created for nearly 100 of years mostly, right? You're very good at this. You know the customers, sometimes just over the different stages, but you should use this kind of information and embrace that, because at the end, also a stronger digital brand of a manufacturer, in my eyes, also helping you in your distribution network. Because even if you're selling via the distributors and wholesalers, the end customer says, oh, they're offering this kind of products of this kind of digital manufacturer. And I think that's very powerful, because that adds to your brand. Doesn't matter which kind of distribution chain you are following. So these are really my last statements or advices from my side. And I think now we are ready for any kind of questions that you have from your side.
Thank you, Tobias. It's always so interesting to listen to you and your knowledge. Thank you.